The longer I trained, the more I realized how low my initial strength standards were, even though not too long ago I thought they were the ultimate levels. Now, I clearly see they were only halfway point. And I'm not the only one. We're witnessing a rise in strong natural athletes who have been dedicated to this game for 10 years, showing remarkable progress. This should be exciting. The bar has risen, not just due to a greater pool of genetic elites, but also because of experience, smarter programming, and innovation, which have collectively elevated the standards. So in early YouTube fitness, a 315 bench and 500 deadlift were considered the pinnacle of natural lifting. If you achieve both, you're among the best. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. Nowadays, teenagers are surpassing those numbers, and it's become normal for many fitness influencers. Consequently, these feats are no longer viewed as extraordinary or brutal. It's important to note that the OG EXRX strength standard charts, or the detailed muscle and strength chart by Steve Shaw, were created over a decade ago. Therefore, we now have to question what it means to be elite, as these numbers are currently being surpassed by the masses. And it's not solely due to fake natties. In terms of natural bodybuilding, sure, crazy improvements might not have been seen on the competitive side. However, when it comes to general strength or being stronger in a less shredded or lean state, we've blown previous expectations completely out of the water. This progress should be celebrated because, just like in daily life or business, when a new standard becomes a norm, previous ones seem like mini checkpoints. New intermediates won't be freaking out when they hit their first 2-plate bench. In fact, they'll likely rep it on their first attempt because maxing out to reach 2 plates is a simple, automatic goal, and every man can achieve it. If not, they must be handicapped or seniors above 70 years of age. And truthfully, a 225 bench isn't really strong. Naturals can often dip this, overhead press this, and even JM press this, which proves how early this level is. Most lifters should be able to bench 225 in 1 to 2 years tops. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind holding them accountable by boldly stating they're creating their own problems. Every big natural can rep 2 plates on the bench, even when they're single-digit body fat. So if you're contest lean, you should still not lose the ability to bench 2 plates, even if it's just for 1 rep. Therefore, if the most depleted bodybuilder, just a few weeks away from competition, or rather death, can do this 100% of the time, then no average lifter with a healthy body fat percentage who follows YouTube fitness and learns from the best should ever say, most gym bros can't bench 225, therefore it's strong. If those words ever come out of your mouth, that's a strong indicator that you'll never be an elite natural or go very far at all. That's the lowest possible bar. Literally your entry point. And I'll stand by that statement. I'm not here to sugarcoat things or say, yeah, a 225 bench is amazing. That's what dishonest influencers will claim, either to justify their poor performance or to make you feel confident in succeeding by following their poor programming advice. No. Show me someone who can coach you at least a 315 bench and now we're talking. But even then, Google 315 bench in the video tab or hashtag it and also examine just how many drug-tested powerlifters have done it. You'll be scrolling for days. And by the way, no one who merely benches 3 plates in comp is a fake natty. So stop with that black pill coping, and you'll realize there are thousands who've done it. Heck, there are thousands who even bench 405, as Alexander Bromley beautifully pointed out in his recent videos. And unlike back in the day, 315 won't win you a competition. Even squat and deadlift peers with perfect leverages for them won't have trouble putting this up. So in my humble opinion, a huge percentage of you can naturally bench between 315 and 365, aka 2.5 plates, with a body weight ranging between 170 and 240. This is very, very, very reasonable. And the heavier you are, the more likely you are to achieve those numbers. Now, a 405 bench is a different beast, and I accomplished it at 185, but I know that height is a factor, and had I bulked up more, combined with my current knowledge, I could have maybe done it in 2 years earlier. Plus, I fully believe that I have the benching potential for 440, aka 200 kilos. So if I weigh in the low 200s, which maybe I'll hit one day, who knows what's possible? So strength standards are only unrealistic sometimes when we're talking about extreme bodyweight multipliers. Pound for pound, lightweight strength is a different ballgame. And very few have the leverages, specialization, or recovery capabilities to pull that off. So just because you can't do a 405 bench at 150 like UF powerlifter, and neither can I, by the way, doesn't mean you can't do it while weighing 50 pounds more. You'd be very surprised by just how much you're holding yourself back by sticking to low body weight. In my case, if I were to compete in powerlifting, sure, I can kick ass in the 165 class, but where I would do even better is at 181, because now I'm not 12% body fat, and I'll have higher absolute strength while still maintaining good enough relative strength. Actually, it can be higher in some cases. Take the overhead press. I could do 245 times 2 in the low 180s, which is about 1.4 times my body weight. And my bench is 2.2 to 2.3 times my body weight if I'm peaked. Now, when I was in the 160s, I had these same or similar, as in slightly higher body weight multipliers, but the absolute load was lower. So what you'll find is, provided you don't get too fat, you'll have two separate categories that almost mirror each other, like in the classic video game Ocarina of Time. It's like young Link versus adult Link. Both are accessible whenever you want, and you have max equipment and skill for either time frames, yet they're also different in their own way. It's the same thing here. One class up or down is the sweet spot for a good blend of everything. But if you want to go even more extreme, then you can forget about weight altogether, just bloat max your weight on new PRs, which as far as I'm concerned has a 100% successful track record and further questions normie strength standards. So back in the day, I generally thought that a 405 bench was endgame, or that a tiny bit more could be achieved. In 2016, which was one of my most productive and high standard years ever, because I was watching a lot of Basement Bugenhagen and Old School Goats, if you would have asked me, hey Alex, do you think a 500-pound bench press is possible naturally? I would have laughed, gone full Italian mode, and ranted about how only fake natties could do that. But now, having benched 405 at only 185, and I'm not a freak, imagine someone who is a freak, or just comparable for that matter, and that guy decides to bulk to the mid 200s or even low 300s. Do you honestly think 500 is unreasonable for him? I say no. Mass moves mass, and we've seen heavyweights like Freaky D do this. There's also Cole Carter, who started obese and lifting in his 50s, and after a couple of years was able to bench 500 for reps. Then we have a true freak, Andrew Richard, who bulked from 195 to 405. Not only benching 500, but also overhead pressing it. In fact, he is the first natural in history to do this. Doug Hepburn 2.0. And interestingly, his journey is documented over 13 years right here on YouTube. Truly underrated, and I'm surprised I've only learned about him recently. Next to Iron Bibby, who's enhanced, he's only around 20 pounds away from the record. So this is what gaining weight can do at the extreme end, aka bloat maxing. Not that I'm encouraging it, but it does shatter our perception of what strong is. So when you learn that there are legit naturals benching 500, why not use that as inspiration or fuel to aim for 4 plates? Don't just lowball it at 3. Just like in self-improvement, shoot higher, and in fact, maybe you should aim for goals that you probably won't achieve. At least you won't settle for embarrassingly low influencer standards. You'll set a proper example for the community, fulfill your potential, and inspire others to outdo you. Speaking for myself, I'm not hitting numbers that I never thought were possible for me, because I was comparing these numbers to the previous bar that obviously wasn't high enough. So now, such OG numbers are relics. We have to go beyond. Not doing so is settling for less. It's not a physiological limitation, period. I can say the same for calisthenics. I once thought 5-plate weighted dips was the pinnacle because the sport of street lifting wasn't a thing. But now we have many dipping over 300 pounds, all while being 100% natural. And if we talk about the total body weight, it's between 400 and 500, which is actually realistic for those who are willing to put in the work. So now I'm repping 5 plates for 5, and eventually we'll do 6, then 7 plates for a single. Because I know from proving to myself that 5 was not a limit, and looking at actual weighted calisthenics competitors, that 5 plates is only the beginning. There's so much more potential. And the same goes for high rep burnouts. When I hear guys saying that 30 dips in a row is almost impossible, I find that completely laughable. With proper training, these same complainers would easily be able to double that count. I'm talking about doing at least 60 dips. For instance, I did 66 in a row in 2018 at a body weight of 160, and now in the 180s, I can do 73 straight. You also saw me do a 30 down dip workout, which adds up to 465 reps plus some extra to hit 500. Yet, DLs who treat dips as a little fluff motion dare to claim that my standards are unrealistic. No, they're totally reasonable for anyone who isn't obese. And just like other standards, they mark the start of something great. Because average calisthenics athletes can do 50 plus. Similarly with pull-ups, I recently saw a popular biomechanics influencer making a post that his optimal training was effective for calisthenics, or that strength to strength, because he can do 17 sloppy pull-ups in a row without training for it. And his fanboys were getting all excited because his low standards are reflected in his suppressed audience. He is breeding a generation of DLs who get impressed by non-impressive feats. Like doing 20 to 30 proper pull-ups is a much better example. And 15 to 20 should be possible while weighted. If you can't do 20 clean reps with a 45 off your waist, don't you dare claim to be an authority on pull-ups, because you're not. If you can't pass the Royal Marines pull-up test, and I promise this guy can, then don't fucking tell me that pull-ups aren't optimal for lat development or that you paid your dues. Far from it. If you'd get crushed at expos, unable to even win a t-shirt on a max reps challenge, then you need serious work. And this is what we need to start calling out in the natural community. We have to do this if it's to evolve the way it should. We must reject low, achievable standards and raise the bar to the point that makes most of us feel uncomfortable. Because that's the only way we'll stop being satisfied with mediocrity. If we truly accept it as such. That's the reality. Strong lifters are nice people, and we won't shut down your achievements. But at the same time, if we grind it to a certain level and know that you're far away from your 100% realistically achievable potential, and we're going to point that out. Not tell you to maintain or savor this moment. No. You move on to the next big goal and continuously get stronger. Just like in Dragon Ball Z. Imagine if all the characters stay the same power level as in the Frieza saga and said Super Saiyan 1 has the max transformation. We'd have neglected Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Fusion, Mystic, Blue, Red, Ultra Instinct, etc. And even for Namekians or humans, understand that most of the final Saga Z heroes who would eventually be strong enough to kill the original Frieza if they could somehow go back in time like Trunks. Think about that. And speaking of Super Saiyans, I remember when Scott Herman first deadlifted 500 pounds around 10 years ago. The entire fitness community was freaking out. That video got over 1 million views, which was a lot, and even more impressive back then. Even guys at my gym were talking about it, screaming, "Did you see Scott's deadlift? I swear to God." And some of his build-up videos, which are still up on YouTube, like 4 or 5 for reps and 4.5 plates, also got close to 1 million views. Can you imagine how many people must have signed up for his membership site after seeing that? Scott was considered the natural king. And we all aspired to deadlift as much as him, myself included. I was around 385 at the time. Yet nowadays, if any of the top fitness influencers were to upload a video entitled 500 pounds Super Saiyan deadlift, the comment section would be dead. And the video would likely struggle to crack 20,000 views. The algorithm would not pick it up. Very few would be going crazy or be that impressed. And in no way can someone like that then sell a deadlift program or use their strength as credentials, because it's simply not good enough in 2023. The final bastion for that was around 2016. And I know because that's when I pulled 5 plates off a deficit. So this is sad for those who wish to excel in the scene, but it's also wonderful that we no longer freak out about something that's nothing special. Audiences are just being honest. And now they know that 500 shouldn't be a lifetime goal. So the deadlift in particular appears to be that one lift where the natural community truly sees themselves doing more. Now, we just need to replicate that mindset for the bench press and squat. A 405 squat is not strong enough, okay? Like I did 425 without even training for it, just off base dummy strength, then built it to 500 within 8 months. And a 315 bench is good, but you can probably rep it 3 to 5 times. Also, that extra half blade for Warhammer Max is probably in the cards since our understanding of programming has gone that good. And many would actually say that a 405 bench is the new 315. I don't really disagree with that, if we're talking about elite naturals. The same goes for the overhead press. The new 225 is between 250 and 315. If John Fung did it in 2015, and now I'm getting closer to the upper levels with hypermobile elbows, while not even weighing the 200s, and with a ratio that was distorted for years. Imagine those who are naturally good at vertical pressing, or at least better suited for it compared to bench. Come on. At some point, the excuses will need to stop. And that's why I speak to you like you're advanced, because I will not entertain mediocrity. I will not have my people, who I deeply care about, claiming that certain numbers that I know for a fact are nothing crazy are the limit. Never. I keep it real, and those who follow my channel and other noble naturals that I've interviewed stay here for a very good reason. Our advice works, and we elevate as a group, just as it's supposed to be. The noble natural community is like old school RuneScape. Serious lifters keep coming back for more and can't get enough, because in the long term, we're winning and results talk. You see the growth, you're experiencing yourself, and you know that what I and my brothers demonstrate is totally possible. We are raising the bar, and I want you to surpass me. I want you to train hard, to view me as potential competition, to get close to my numbers, because I know that the majority of you can get close. Yes, I have that much conviction in you. And standards provide that opportunity to create something that's relatable and achievable. We're paving the road. You just gotta follow it and not slip off. Do that consistently for the next decade, and you'll learn for yourself that most fitness influencers are all talk, no action. I say that because they quit the race halfway through, yet still say they finished it. That's a lie. Average strength standards are only a half marathon. The full marathon, so far, isn't even over for any of us. And the length of this race just keeps getting longer with time. So you better be accepting the modern standards that real, dedicated naturals are bringing forth. Reject old, outdated standards and embrace the new. Do you understand? You can rekindle your initial love for lifting with the passion to want more. By resurrecting your standards, you're also resurrecting your gains. Because this will ensure that your mindset is in the right place to succeed. And that's what's been holding you back until you finally accept the truth that you've always been capable of more. So get after it. Standards are designed to empower you, not demotivate you.